Hey, hi. Okay. First, this is kind of a thirst trap so that people watch this video so they get the information. Secondly, I'm very happy to use my body right now for some healing and some relief. And this brings me pleasure to be in my body, to be in my body on camera, to be okay with it, to invite it, to feel safe, to feel juicy, to feel yummy. It's super important to me to stay in pleasure right now. Um, Okay, here's what we're going to cover in this video. We're going to cover a basic belly massage, which is also why I'm wearing this so that you can see. I'm going to get up in a little bit so that you can have access to my belly and I can guide you through this practice. So in order to do this practice, you may want to go ahead and get up now and get some kind of oil. I'm in love. This is like, see it? It's a Vata massage oil. I was having like bronchitis, something was happening with my lungs like the 2 weeks leading up to now, and felt super windy and needed some kind of grounding and some kind of grounding. So this oil contains a lot of different herbs and things that are really good for grounding. I often put it on before bed and it helps me sleep. I'm going to use it today for belly massage. I invite you to have whatever you can use. Olive oil. Okay, so these are you can use sunflower oil, you can use whatever's in the house at this point. We're going to use. Okay, some people like a combination of coconut and olive if you have that. If you have castor oil, without getting into all the deliciousness of castor oil and its anti-inflammatory properties and why it's so good for the gut, you may want to use that. I would actually recommend that. Okay, so this is going to be, I'm going to talk a little bit about the gut and why the stomach and why to focus on belly massage and why now. And then we're going to actually do the practice together. And if you don't watch it now, obviously you can refer back to this and be able to do the practice. It's a lifeline for me right now. I have a lot of lifelines. I have a lot of tools. That's why I do this work. That's why I share it. But I get overwhelmed too. And sometimes I'm just like, not another tool. I can't do another thing. So if you're tuning in now, you're like, oh, I just need to watch Netflix, or I can't, I'm too overwhelmed to even deal with my feelings. Cool. I want you to honor your body where it's at. Let me begin. So the enteric nervous system is our gut, sometimes called the second brain. You might have heard this, the second brain. It's really our first brain. That came first. It's the oldest nervous system. So when we are in crazy, unprecedented times like right now, my previous video referring to how sometimes arousal can shut off when we're in this is similar to digestion can shut off, even though it seems like one of the more basic needs. Our autonomic nervous system will figure out when we're in fight, flight, or freeze, when we're in that sympathetic nervous system response, it will shut down the less necessary things. So oftentimes that means that digestion will shut down as well, or at least healthy digestion. So if you're experiencing bloating right now or difficulty going, that's normal. It's all normal. It's always normal. But right now, maybe extra normal that the body's having a hard time. When we say the gut, it's not just our physical intestines. It's that when we say that even the second brain, it's this intelligence in our bodies of knowing how much we can process at what pace, and then not going into overwhelm. So if our guts are going slower, if we're less able to process, let's say, food, that is representative of the fact that we're probably on overwhelm processing information as well. So the gut will start to reflect that. Those two things are working together. So it's difficult to process it. It's difficult to integrate it. So when we're not processing things in our gut, then our systems are not absorbing through the bloodstream the nutrients they need either, which is sometimes why we might think we're eating really healthy food. We're doing the best that we can, but we're still feeling depleted, lack of energy. That's, again, a sign of the times. It might not be a food issue, but we might not be absorbing the nutrients that we need. And then there can be a difficulty in letting go, which is super understandable for these times. We have very little control. We always do. But for a lot of us, we're feeling it on a new level. Oh my God, I don't have any control over this. I can have control over my actions I take or do not take. I can have control over staying at home or not being in contact. But I have very little control of other people's choices, how this plays out on a global scale, any of that. So when we feel out of control, when we cannot control our immediate environment, that can be really heightened on a body level. And our bodies can be unwilling to literally excrete the waste because our bodies are afraid of letting go. They're afraid of releasing. They're afraid of that thing leaving our body. It might sound crazy, it might sound wild, but start noticing if this is happening. I know there's been times in my life where I've been very overwhelmed or I'm having a hard time processing grief. Yeah, this happened to me recently when I lost somebody dear to me, that I started to get super bloated. I couldn't process anything because I was on overwhelm. And I was having so much grief around losing this person. Whether or not I was conscious or not, I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to grieve that. And it almost felt like, of course, my body wasn't like, if you take a shit, then that means you're letting, your loved one go. Of course, I wasn't conscious of that. But that's how our bodies are trying to deal with this. They're like, if I do this thing, if I let go, then what? Of course, nothing really happens. We're letting go anyways, whether or not it's voluntarily or not. But that's how our bodies are interacting with trauma, with the situation, with the lack of control. So I know in that particular instance, when I lost a dear one several months ago, again, I was so bloated and having so much trouble. And I did this practice. I'm going to share with you today. And it was emotional and phenomenal. And it can also be mundane and you can not feel much and you can just be like, okay. But right now it's also super healing for our nervous systems to give ourselves touch and presence and reassurance and just, we don't have to do anything. I'm just being present. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to fix anything. I don't have to have the answers. I don't have to have it figured out. I'm just going to be present with my body. Okay, so let me get into the practice because I don't really want to delay much longer on that. I'll speak about some other things about the enteric nervous system and kind of nerd out on that while we're doing the practice, perhaps. But that's a little bit about it. Okay, so the practice. Have some oil. This is the oil I'm choosing. Any oil works. Olive oil, sunflower oil, whatever you got. If you're sitting up, lean back against something. When we're up like this, as much as we're told that it's proper meditative posture, we're now ready to fight or flight. We're ready to uncoil. We're ready to go. So when we lean back and we take that response out, then we automatically go into a different nervous system response. It's just how it works. I would invite you to lay down, but if you can lay down and tilt your camera so that you can still see, I'm going to pop myself up here so that you can see my belly as I'm doing this. If you don't have oil, fine, you can do it without it. Okay, so belly. You're going to tune in with your body first. Your body is the teacher. So you're going to lay there for a little bit, feel into it. Maybe even ask yourself, body, where do you want my hands to go first? And then when you get that answer, if you get that answer, you're going to place your hands there. So my body is telling me to put my hands right here. So that's where I'm going to place them first. Doesn't have to be symmetrical. You may have this going on. Listen to your body. And then you're just going to hold there and feel that and connect. What does it feel like to have your hands on your body? What does it feel like to feel your breath underneath your hands? Breathing into our belly is deeply relaxing. When we're going through traumatic, stressful times, we often start to hold our belly real tight. So all of this is a gentle invitation. Your body is the wisdom keeper. If it feels stressful to breathe, some people have, again, this is like that letting go response. They're like, no, I don't want to feel. I'm trusting that your body knows just what its capacity is right now, and it might not be safe to feel too much. That's okay. When your body gives you the signal that it's okay to bring in some movement, I'm going to invite you to start with a circular movement. So this is sometimes called galactic body massage. So this technique is in the type of work I do, somatic sexology, also called sexological body work. There are sexological body workers maybe in your area. You can Google that. There are associations to find us. Right now, a lot of us are not doing hands-on work, so we're doing this guidance and video like this. So you're going to do this circular motion from the right side of your body up to left side, down and around. That's it. You can decide how big the circles are or how small. And then I'm going to invite you to check in. Is this the right pressure? Should it be firmer or softer? My body wants firmer, so I'm going to give it a little bit more. And then I'm going to check in again. Is that right? Or does it need to be firmer or softer? Guess what? I'm giving this to myself so I can get it exactly the way I want it. Staying with the breath, I noticed I was holding it. Second question to check in with, is this the right speed or should this be faster or slower? It should be slower. I have a tendency to rush through things, so I'm noticing I'm doing that. So I'm going to go slower. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Such a difference. I'm noticing I just want this all to be over. So even in my healing techniques I'm doing with myself, there's a level of impatience with them. And the reality is for me is that I got a lot of time right now. But for those of us who feel anxious with the amount of unlimited time we have, or that get overwhelmed with being in healing presence with ourselves, I invite you to set a timer at the start of your practice. We'll just keep it to a couple minutes today. You find your willingness, your capacity. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10, and you're just going to decide, like, this is as much as I can handle. You know what? 1 minute is better than none. So that's galactic. You could keep doing this for as long as it feels good. Nothing else needs to happen. If you want to start experimenting with different spots, I will show you a few. So this is my right side of my body. So there's an ileocecal valve, like where the intestines meet, usually to the right of you. So you go to the button, go to the right of it. Maybe a couple of inches, maybe one. You're gonna kind of poke around. It'll be maybe a little bit tender if your body is not digesting the way that it can. And you'll feel that. It'll be like, oof, woof, you know, like a little bit, ow, okay, I think I found it. So it's gonna be different on everybody. Yikes, wow. And if you're not having that wow, yikes response, that's okay. You may still have found it. Also, the way to find it is there might be a gurgle. If there's a gurgle there, that might be an indication like, oh, I'm not quite moving right there. Now, I could think that I'm on it right now, and this could just be sore from like doing yoga 3 days ago. That's fine too. So this pressure can be a little bit harder, but again, check in with yourself. Do I want it firmer? Do I want it softer? Or is this just right? I'm going fast again. Do I want it slower? Yep. Ah, yeah, that makes all the difference for me. Do I want it slower? Do I want it faster? Or is this just right? So that's one spot. Another spot, this lower esophageal, it's like your diaphragm. So if you know where your diaphragm is, you take your ribs, and then when your ribs connect right here in the middle, this is a sphincter. We have a lot of sphincters. We think we only have an anal sphincter. We have a lot of sphincters working in our digestion all the way down. They open, they close. They open, they close. If we're having difficulty digesting, processing things, especially coming from the heart, and then it has to come through this passage here, if we don't want to feel, if we don't want to process what our hearts are feeling right now, this can be a real spot where the body's like, you ain't getting past here. I'm going to keep it all up here. Because if it gets down here, then I'm going to have to feel it in a different way, and I ain't ready for all of that. So this one is a super duper tender spot for me. So I try to be gentle. Try to be gentle with it. So again, breathing in the belly. This one can be harder than the other one. Some of these spots you're going to dig a little bit, but listen to your body. Should this be firmer or softer? Should this be slower or faster? Breathing through the belly. Exhaling out through the mouth can really also guide your body to let go in a really gentle way. Especially with sound, without having to force it. We're not trying to force our bodies to do more than they can handle right now. And then something else you can do is work along the rib cage. So just because we can carry a lot of tension here, having to do with our breath, especially right now as we're facing a virus that has to do with the lungs, I feel like I've noticed more holding in my lungs and my chest, like there's more fear in that body part bracing itself, for like, oh my God, we could have illness here, So I feel like I'm constricted in my breath here. I'm constricted in my ribs. I'm feeling it in my lungs. So just working along that ridge there, we can notice if we have tenderness. Does it want to be firmer or softer, faster or slower? Oof, right there. Yikes. And then last spot is along this like pubic bone crest here that we can have a lot of tension at the bottom kind of our guts. Well, not really the bottom of our guts. They go lower than that. But, ooh, mama. I almost don't want to do this on video. Yikes. Okay. So just working along there. Again, okay, I'm going to follow my own direction. Does it need to be softer or firmer? I think a little bit softer. This is very intense for me. Better. Does it need to be slower or faster? I think I can go even slower. Wow. Okay, I'm holding a lot of emotion down here. So as you do this, you may have emotion come up. You may have a release. You may not. I don't want to shame anyone who does this and feels nothing. That's totally normal too. Just being with your body, just being with your presence is enough. But if you notice that you go into tears or laughter or maybe even arousal or the full range of emotion is normal. Because like I said, if we're holding all of this in our gut, we're holding all of it in our gut. It's not just stress and fear and panic, it's everything. Maybe we're holding on to pleasure here. Maybe we're holding on to some funny story here, Anything can come up. And if something comes up, I'm going to invite you. So here's the language. I'm going to go back into galactic because that's what my body's saying. So during all of this, here, those are the spots. The galactic's a good go-to. The other one is a self-bossy massage or a follow your pleasure massage, which means your body is the wisest teacher. And listening to it, where does it want to go next? I've had a belly massage where my womb was like, hey, I want somebody to pat me. So I said that to the person I was getting a massage with. And it was brilliant intuition because my body had an experience with it. So I can do that for myself. Where does my body want to go next? So I invite you to come to stillness. So you can feel that and maybe even take your hands off the body so you can feel that. Where's my body? And my body is telling me actually it wants a tap. And it wants a tap from here down to my belly button. And again, for those of you who are not super in touch with your bodies because you haven't had the practice that I've had, normal. I've had to practice at this. I've had to practice at listening to my body and then being able to interpret the signals it's getting me. So now we have an open line of communication, and it's not always clear. But if it's not clear when you ask the body, what do you want me to do next? Just keep doing the galactic or keep poking around. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Okay, it's had enough of that. Now it just wants me to hold. Yeah, it feels like it's had enough of all the things. So that's a simple practice, which is really just you and your body leading it, guiding it. How does my body want to be right now? What kind of comfort, what kind of touch does it want to receive? Any presence we bring to our enteric nervous system right now, our guts, our gut feelings that are on high alert, that are trying to figure out how to process, digest, release, let go. We're gonna bring presence to that, and we're gonna allow that to come into our lives so we can process, integrate, digest, release all the things that we're getting overwhelmed with right now. So this is a really beautiful practice to come back to again and again and again. And I don't know, how many minutes was that? All right. That was maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. Yeah. But okay, so I want to say a couple more things about the practice. Well, maybe not even the practice, but like about what maybe is going on with the gut right now. We may be in self-isolation, we may be comfort eating. First of all, I want to normalize that. I want to normalize eating full stop. Yeah, just so you know about what may be going on there. So you can start to feel some agency choice around different resources and tools to use. Our guts, our enteric nervous system, have the majority of the neurotransmitters in our body, more than our brains. So a lot of talk is talked about, antidepressants, other things like, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, all the things, but we talk rarely about what's going on with our guts. So if our guts are constricted right now because we're in fight, flight, or freeze, and our digestion is being shut off because we are afraid to feel, integrate, process what's going on, if you're in that boat, you may be noticing that you're going to eating or comfort eating, normal. It's not necessarily just like foods that you grew up with or that are like comforting and like mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, whatever. There's also something else going on there. Your body is trying to get the neurotransmitters that it's not receiving from your gut right now. So your body's trying to get dopamine, oxytocin, other things that make it feel safe and okay. So the eating is a shorter term fix to that because we get that boost. We usually get a crash because our body can't integrate, especially if our digestion's off. We take in those foods, we get the boost, but then our bodies can't integrate it, so then we don't get the burst from our guts. So part of bringing presence and love back to the gut allows us to get our feel-good neurotransmitters back too. We need those. We need those right now. So that's another huge part of this practice, is getting access to the neurotransmitters again. Oh, I like so much love for my belly right now, coming back into it. Yeah, so even just this, even just bringing loving presence, you don't have to make a whole thing of it. You don't have to get the oil, you don't have to do all the steps I said. You can just, how does my body want to receive my hands? How does my body want to receive touch? And then maybe coming back to this material and making some sense of it neuroscience wise or collective behavior wise or whatever. I'll leave on this. Okay, so I just had this conversation with my mom when I was like, for those of us who work with sexuality and who work with the first chakra a lot, or who have worked with anal massages or done this kind of work, like I wasn't shocked when it was like toilet paper was the first thing that was like flying off the shelves. There's something inherently survival, trust-based in our base, in our root chakra, in our, if you don't believe in chakras, fine, in our anuses, okay? Like there's something about this sense of survival, security. Am I okay? Am I okay with myself? And we often, even in times of, not even in wild times like this, but normal times, we clench, we hold on, we don't want to let go. We're encouraged to do that. We're encouraged not to pass gas in public. We're encouraged it's not safe for us to be able to just have a loose butt all the time. Like we have to go to work and maybe we don't use those toilets or whatever. Like we all have our upbringing and all our stuff around that. But we're seeking security and a sense of like everything is okay. So for me, when I saw that flying off the shelves, it was like, I don't think it's hoarding here. Maybe that's a little bit, but I think it's that sense of I need to make sure my most intimate, private, um, letting go issue is being met right now, so I can feel safe, so I can feel like I can let go a little bit. That somehow I'm still part of like the collective. So there's some softness in me around that, in this toilet paper issue. I think I get it. I think I feel it for all of us. Okay. Belly massage will probably help with that too. All right. I included in the description, and I'm giving out free content right now. I'm doing video sessions, but I want us all to keep supporting each other and supporting each other wherever we can, supporting each other. $1 here, $2 there. It makes a huge difference. It's a huge emotional boost for those of us who are healers, who work with our hands, who are taking a hit right now, like most people are taking a hit right now. So where I'm contributing to restaurant workers and folks in the service industry and other people who I want to look out for, I'm asking for people to look out for me and other healers like me too. So as much as people are offering free content right now, and I think the times call for it, in our own generosity, and if we're able to, I included my Venmo on there. Like if you feel at all responding to any of these videos that I'm putting up or resources I'm putting up, just know that any amount whatsoever is appreciated on a very emotional survival level. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing this practice. Thank you for those of you who watched it after the live. I see these comments. I see people who have joined. I'm going to respond to them. It's hard for me to be doing the belly massage while I'm doing that. And yeah, I love you. I appreciate you wherever you're at and your humanness and your ability to process this right now and your ability to feel and integrate and let go. You're doing great. You're doing great. Okay. Catch you soon.